Samantha Turner had everything: the corner office, the luxury car, and the power to make or break anyone's career with a single phone call. But behind that confident smile was a woman who had stopped believing in people, especially in love. So when her best friend secretly set her up on a blind date with a single dad who worked as a mechanic, she almost laughed. "A mechanic? Really?" she said, rolling her eyes. What Samantha didn't know that night as she walked into that small Italian restaurant was that the man she was about to mock would one day save her life in a way no one else could. Before we jump into this powerful story of kindness, redemption, and fate, don't forget to subscribe to your channel name. If you love stories that touch your heart and remind you that goodness still exists, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. Now, let's begin. Samantha Turner was 36, the youngest CEO of a growing tech firm in Chicago. Her days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and a constant need to prove herself in a world that often judged women twice as hard. She had built walls around her, strong, polished, unbreakable. Her assistant, Megan, had been trying for months to get her to go on a date. "Sam, you work too much. You need a life outside the office." One Friday, Megan finally convinced her to go on a blind date. "He's a good man," she said. "Kind, humble, a single dad. His name's Ryan." Samantha sighed. "Megan, I'm not looking for a charity project." But somehow, she agreed. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe a tiny part of her wanted to see if there was still something human left beneath her armor. The restaurant was cozy, filled with the scent of garlic bread and laughter from nearby tables. Ryan arrived right on time, tall, mid-30s, with soft brown eyes and grease stains faintly visible on his hands despite his clean shirt. He smiled nervously. "You must be Samantha. I hope I'm not too early." Samantha glanced at him, her tone cool. "No, I was just checking my emails." The conversation started awkwardly. He talked about his daughter, Lily, a 10-year-old who loved drawing cars and wanted to be an engineer. Samantha nodded politely but barely engaged. "So, what do you do?" she asked. "I'm a mechanic," he said simply. "Own a small auto shop downtown." Her eyebrow arched. "A mechanic? That's nice." Ryan caught the tone but smiled anyway. "It pays the bills. I love fixing things. Makes me feel useful." For the rest of the night, Samantha checked her phone more than she looked at him. She left early, claiming an urgent email, and drove off in her sleek BMW without a second glance. Ryan watched her leave, sighed, and whispered to himself, maybe she's just not ready. 2 weeks later, Chicago was hit by an early snowstorm. Samantha stayed late at the office, finishing a project. When she finally left, the parking lot was nearly empty, and snow covered the roads. She started her car, but it sputtered and died. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered. No signal. No nearby cabs. And the temperature was dropping fast. Just as she was about to panic, a familiar voice called out, "Need some help?" It was Ryan, the same man she'd brushed off. He had stopped his truck nearby after recognizing her car stranded in the snow. Samantha's pride kicked in. "I'm fine, thank you." Ryan chuckled. "Yeah, your car doesn't look fine." He pulled on his gloves and opened the hood before she could protest. In minutes, he diagnosed the problem. "Battery's dead. You'll need a jump." She crossed her arms. "You carry cables around just in case?" "Always," he smiled. "You'd be surprised how many people get stranded in weather like this." Within minutes, her car roared back to life. She looked at him, a little embarrassed. "Thank you. I guess I owe you one." He shrugged. "You don't owe me anything. Just get home safe." As he walked back to his truck, something inside her softened. He hadn't mentioned their failed date, hadn't mocked her attitude, hadn't asked for anything in return. Just kindness. Simple, quiet kindness. The next morning, she sent coffee and donuts to his shop with a note, "Thanks for helping me last night." Samantha. That small act started something unexpected. They began texting. Light conversations at first, weather, work, his daughter's school projects. Samantha found herself smiling at his messages, something she hadn't done in a long time. Soon, they met again, this time on her terms. She visited his auto shop one Saturday, pretending her car needed routine maintenance. Ryan grinned the moment he saw her. Routine, huh? Or just checking if I actually fix cars? She laughed, genuinely laughed, for the first time in months. They talked for hours. Ryan showed her how engines worked, how every small part had a purpose. It's like life, he said. Even broken things can be fixed if you care enough to try. Something about those words stayed with her. Weeks passed. They grew closer, though neither called it dating. Samantha even met Lily, Ryan's daughter, who shyly gave her a drawing of a smiling woman standing beside a car. "That's you," Lily said. "Daddy said you're really smart." It melted Samantha's heart. But not everyone was supportive. At her office, whispers began. The CEO dating a mechanic? He's using her. She's out of her league. Samantha felt torn. Old fears and pride crept back in. One evening, during dinner, she finally said it out loud. "Ryan, maybe we shouldn't see each other anymore. People are talking." Ryan looked at her calmly. "You mean people who don't even know us?" She sighed. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under. My image." "Your image doesn't matter to me," he said softly. "But your heart does." She couldn't find the right words. So she left. Days turned into weeks. Samantha threw herself into work, trying to forget. But every time she passed that Italian restaurant or saw a father with his daughter, she thought of him. Then one night, fate came calling again. She was driving home after a late meeting when her car suddenly skidded on a patch of ice. In seconds, she lost control, the vehicle spun, slammed into a guardrail, and flipped onto its side. The world blurred. Smoke filled the air. Samantha screamed for help, trapped inside. And then, through the fog, came headlights. A truck pulled up. Someone ran toward her. "Hang on, Samantha." It was Ryan. By pure chance, he'd been driving that same route home from a late customer call. Without hesitation, he smashed the window, unbuckled her seatbelt, and pulled her out just as the car started to catch fire. She collapsed in his arms, sobbing. You saved me." He held her tight. "I told you, I fix things that are broken." In the hospital later, when she woke up to see him sitting by her bed, she whispered, "You should hate me. After how I treated you." Ryan smiled softly. "I don't do hate. Life's too short for that." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Why are you so kind?" He looked at her gently. "Because once, someone was kind to me when I didn't deserve it. I'm just passing it on." That night, Samantha realized something she had missed her whole life. Kindness doesn't come from wealth, status, or power. It comes from the heart, from those who give without expecting anything in return. Months later, Samantha left her corner office job and started a new venture, a foundation that provided free car repairs for single parents struggling to make ends meet. She named it the Lily Project. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Ryan and Lily stood beside her, smiling proudly. When a reporter asked why she chose that name, Samantha said, "Because a little girl reminded me that real strength isn't about what you own, it's about how much love you're willing to give." Sometimes, life brings people together in unexpected ways, a failed date, a broken car, a snowstorm. But every moment has a purpose. Samantha learned that the greatest kind of success isn't measured in profits or promotions, it's measured in kindness, in love, in second chances. So the next time you meet someone who seems different, or less impressive by the world's standards, take a moment to see their heart. You never know, they might just be the one who saves your life. Because kindness, in the end, always finds its way back. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to your channel name. Let's keep spreading stories that remind the world, kindness never goes unnoticed.